Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and we're here with a sweet little make actually. Okay, we're going to be making a mini journal and we're going to be using file folders. Now file folders, you can get them in many different colours, you can get them in many different sizes, you can get them in many different places. You can buy them online, you can buy them in office supply stores, stationery stores, you can even get them in recycling stores, charity stores, Goodwill stores. There's plenty of places you can get them basically. So I've got new ones here, but to be honest with you, I would probably be reaching for recycled ones if I had any to hand. The brand doesn't matter. This is Pender Flex, and I know they're from the States because that's where I had them. So anyway, so going back to where I got the inspiration from. So I saw a YouTuber video the other day by Darlene McConnachie, I think that is. I'm so bad at pronouncing names. I'm going to find the original video. Well, I don't need to find it. I know where the original video is. And I'm going to put the link to it in my description box. So in that corner, there should be a little grey V or maybe the words read more. If you open up that description box, I'll put the link to the video that I was inspired by. Darlene did a two-part video. I'll link the first video and then you can take it from there and see whether you want to watch the second one or not. She did a beautiful little cute little journal with some tags that flapped in and out and stuff like that, and I'm going to make my own twist on it. I'm going to simplify it quite a bit. It's not going to be hers, put it that way. It's going to be my version of what I was inspired to do, which is how I like to work. And then if I've got time, I'll just show you how I would decorate it and work from there. So basic file folders. I'm not going to be too specific with measurements of the ones I'm making, although I will tell you the measurements I'm making here because it'll depend on you and the file folders you've got to work with and the size of your finished article. You'll get what I mean as I'm going along. So first of all, I need to cut these down a little bit. So bringing in my guillotine. Now someone did ask me what was the make of my guillotine. It's a cross-cut guillotine. I've had it for years. I had it on auction from eBay. So to be honest with you, I don't even know whether they still make them anymore. So I like a guillotine instead of a trimmer, but there's no problem there, whichever you wish to use. Now I'm going to make this whole little mini journal out of two of these. You can make them as big or as small as you want. Now I know that this is 11 and almost 11 3/4 at its longest distance. For me, that's just going to be too hard to be working with, so I'm just going to cut it right down to 11. Okay, my choice, but I find that I can divide 11 in half far better than I can divide 11 3/4. So this little bit will go to one side. It might get stamped on at some point, but I'm not going to worry about keeping too many little scraps. I think all of us have got too many little scraps in our lives, and that's not really a pretty one. So right, now when it comes to the width, I want my width here to be 8 inches. Again, that's the choice I want because I want to be able to divide it in half. So let's take that down to 8 and take this down to 8. Now, what am I up to? One of these pieces I'm going to need as a different sort of length. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tidy this one up. Okay? Let's see. So that'll be... Just while I get my bearings on this. That's 11. So I need a piece 5.5 inches long is what I'm trying to get to. So I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to trim it to 5.5 and I'm going to take this little nub piece off. It's just a piece that you'll need to neaten up the spine later on. So I've just cut this piece. I'm going to put it on the table over there just so I know where it is. So I don't think it's a bit of scrap waste or a bit of paper I'm not using. So now I've got these are 8 inches by 11 inches. I'm now going to cut this down to 5.5. Now I do apologise for anyone who works in metric. I'm hopeless at metric. So I do 99% of all my measuring in inches. So I'm going to cut this down to 5.5. And both halves should be identical at this point. and I'm going to do the same again on this one, 5.5. Now, there may be slight differences because these file folders are mass produced. They do the best they can to make them uniform, but maybe sometimes they're not. So let's put this to one side. Don't need that for a while. In fact, I'm not sure I need it again, to be honest. So now we've got 4 pieces of these. Now, Darlene only used 3. I'm using 4. Just personal choice. Now, I'm going to bring in the scoreboard at this point because what I wish to do... Oh, lift that up. Now, I don't know whether this is actually important to tell you or not, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The folded edge I'm putting on the outside. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to score this at 4. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to score it at 4. And I'm going to do that for all of them. I work very much production line in that if I'm doing one action, I will actually repeat that action on all of the pieces should they need it, instead of actually just doing one whole piece and then going back to another whole piece. And it just works for me, guys. It's the way my brain is wired. So this is a cute little make. It'll make you a little journal with, I think on my last count, you can get about 30 sides of writing on here if you don't want to make the pages pretty with ephemera and stuff. It'll also have journal cards in it as well, which depend on whether you make them be able to write on both sides or just one side. That will determine, but it gives you quite a lot of space for a little tiny journal. This is a nice little one to throw in your travel luggage if you're traveling away, something like that. So now the rule of thumb for me is if it was made into a valley, it now needs to be made into a mountain. So valleys are folded into mountains. So I'm going to make sure they line up and then I'm going to score them. And by line up, I mean line up top and bottom. So bear with me while I just whip my way through this one. So now I did, in the last video I actually showed you the journal I made for my trip to Chicago. I will hopefully get a little update on that journal soon. And the reason I'm saying that is I want to just flick through my own journal to make sure there's nothing in there I need to mask out or cover up, because it's okay me sharing my journal, but I may not want to share everything I said in my journal with everybody in the planet who could watch this video. Valley needs to go to... No, I did have that right. And also I want to make sure that if there are any photographs in there, which there may well be, I want to make sure that I've double checked with the people in them that they're okay with me sharing their faces on the internet and mentioning their names. So just a few things like that. Just they're little things that mean a lot to me. If someone has actually used my image, I like to know that I've been asked about it. I don't want to suddenly find my image popping up in someone's video and they've not actually spoken to me about it, and I think that's a bit rude. So I try to always lead by example, let's put it that way. Okay. Now, we've made all of these into this sort of shape, a W, or if you really want to be picky, an M. Now, something I like to do at this point, some of these have got a mark on them, like here. Now, I want to reverse my folds because I want that to be on the inside. So this is how our, almost, we'll call it a signature, but it's not a signature, but I want to make sure that that bit is on the inside. See, some of them don't have it, so I don't have to worry about it. Some of them do. Like that one's got one on there, so I'm going to reverse these folds. I mean, I could have been really picky and thought about that before I started, but to be honest, it doesn't matter to me. Again, put that on the inside. Now, another thing I want to do too is, yes, it's on the inside, but I'd like it on the bottom, because if it's on the top and I cut a thumb hole, then I'll see that. So I'm going to put that into the bottom. Just double check they're on the bottom. That one didn't have one, and that one had one on the bottom. Where's the other one gone then? Oh, I didn't catch that one. There you go. See, what's that about check twice, cut once, whatever that saying is? So, right. So, the orientation I've got them all in is that they are in this orientation. Any words I've got down at the bottom. So, okay, so I've got them in that shape. I want to make sure they're all opening in the same orientation. It sort of is important, to be honest with you, when it comes to the next bit. So I've got them all in the correct orientation. Now, again, because as I said, I work production line, I want to do my next stage. Let's move that over to one side. Now, I'm going to come in along the top and I want to mark in 1.5 inches. Now, the reason I'm marking 1.5 inches on there is because I'm going to cut a 1-inch hole punch there to give me a notch. Now, I want them all centered. So if I know this is 4 inches across, if I take away the 1-inch hole, that gives me 3.5 inches. 3 inches. If I cut that in half, that's 1.5. So 1.5 leaves me an inch gap. So that's why I'm making that mark at 1.5. So again, it's the way my brain is wired. But you know, this methodical method of working has never let me down, and I'm more than happy to stick with it. So you, of course, do not have to do this. If you just take the general idea and build it in the way in which you wish to do it, then that's also a good thing. Right, so that's the 4 of those done. Now, I made a note on this one. What was it? Right, I now need to make a notch on the back page. This one, I need to make it 2.25 inches down. And why have I done that? Because this is 5.5. If I take 5.5 here, take an inch away, that's 4.5, which means 2.25 gives me the central mark. So that's 2.25 on that one. 2.25 on this one. 2.25 on this one. Now this is where things change slightly. Do not do 2.25 on this one, because this will become the back cover, so we wouldn't need a thumb notch in it. Okay, just so we're all up to speed on that. Now I'm going to hole punch these, or not hole punch, I'm going to thumb punch them. And what I intend, there's no punch hole there, don't mind. Now you can see what's happening here. This is going to become a top loading pocket. Now, I know that because I've already had a go at making one of these, the thing to remember is if we cover the pages, see that's going to be a side loading pocket. If we're going to cover the pages, which we are, or which I intend to do, then what you're going to find is you're going to have to hole punch these again afterwards. But you know what? I have no problem doing that because it's quite easy to do, but it's harder to do all the measuring when the whole book is constructed. So let's take a little notch out of there and a notch out of there. Right, before we start the next bit, let me talk you through so that you have an idea of what my plan is. So, there was another bit of that stuff. So, before we get to the gluing and the constructing, so let's regard that as our front cover. This will then become a top loading pocket. This will be attached to this, which then gives you a side loading pocket. That is then a top loading pocket. This has that attached and is a side loading pocket. Top loading pocket, side loading pocket because it's attached to that, top loading pocket, back cover. Okay, that was a little fast, wasn't it? But you understand where I'm going. I want to be detailed because I've had lots of comments back from you saying that you really love the fact that I do everything in real time and I give you the exact way I do it and I give you the reasons behind it, and that gladdens my heart because that's exactly why I want to do these sort of things. So now I'm going to use art glitter glue for this. You can use whichever glue you wish to use. PVA would work, and any glue you want. I probably wouldn't use a glue stick. So we're going to come through, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the central pocket. So I'm going to do a line of art glitter glue Yay, it's behaving, it's coming out for once. And a line of art glitter glue down here. Hopefully I'm in shot. I am in shot. I'm going to close that, give it a bit of a press. And then what I like to do is, I just like, excuse making the noise, I like to just clip things because that's the way I roll. My anxiety always tells me something's not going to stick. So what do? I really clamp it together and make sure I really stick it. Sometimes I use too much glue as well. So that's my first one done. Come in again. Feel free to fast forward this section if you've now understand where I'm going with this, but I am not offended if you fast forward. I just prefer to do this absolutely methodical, letting everyone know exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So another reason I'm using art glitter glue for this is because it's a real quick grab. You could use thin strips of double-sided tape for this if you chose to. I'm not 100% certain that with wear and tear, double-sided tape would be a benefit. So now open this up, make sure this is, and actually I've got a little bit of a mark there, but I've put my eraser. There you go, let's take that little mark off there. It's probably going to be covered again anyway, but I would like to make sure I've done my best all the way along. All the way up the side, get a bit of press down. Now I know at this point that the first one is probably glued, so excuse my reach. I'm just going to reach across, take the clamps off the first one, which will save that annoying rattling in the clamp box. And that'll secure that one. And then come in and do the very last one. So what we've effectively done now is made 4 top loading pockets. And again, recycle my clamps from the second one. To create this. I hope I'm in shot. I'm more focused on what I'm doing than looking at the camera. I've lowered the camera slightly so I can actually see within it. So hopefully I'm in shot. If not, I do apologise. So what we've got now is we've got 4 sets of this happening. So I've now got top loading pockets, and these are my, I'll call them signatures, but we know they're not signatures. So that's 1, that's 2, make sure it still opens. Still opens. Now what I'm going to do now is I've got a page with a notch and a page without a notch. Now I want to make sure I know where my back one is, which should be that one if I've done my math correctly. This time I'm going to run glue down the 3 sides of this and then attach this to it. Now in this process I need to make sure that once I attach them, the spines are lined up with each other as well as the top and bottom edges. And probably the best way to do this is, come here, is to pick them up and actually do them in this direction. And that means that the spines are together and so are the tops and bottoms. And hopefully I've done that right. That gives me the side loading pocket into a top loading pocket. So I'm just going to take the clamps off this. Come on, get a grip. There you go. Just to get these sorted out just a little bit more. I think the spine is probably the most important bit on this one. So that gives me 1/2 of my book. Now if I take these off here, because we've got the second half of the book. Now this is the one where I need to remember this is my back cover. So what I need to do is I need to now attach this to here as we've just done. As you can see, this is a really quick project, guys. Now, I'm doing this with file folders. There's no reason why you couldn't make a smaller version of this with 12 by 12 card cut up. Okay, it would have to be narrower because you can't have, well, 12 by 12 does not make 16 by whatever it would need to be. So just know that you can do a version of this. It would probably be a smaller make though. So that's just clamp these bits down. Make sure everything's nicely in contact. So yes, so you could work it out to be smaller. You'd probably make a really nice mini journal out of it if you did a 12. Because what would happen is a 12 folded in half would obviously give you 6, and then the fold again would give you 3. So you'd have 4 panels of 3, 6, 9, 12. The 2 would become the top loading and the front and back with the notches. So it'll make sense. If you give that a bit of a think through, you'll see where I'm coming with that. So we've got this. Why am I trying to put the pin in? I need this in a moment. So right, that's probably glued enough because we know our glitter glue really glues very, very quickly. So we've got the front half of our book done. So we've got a top loading, we've got a side loading, we've got a top loading, and we've got a side loading front. This front of the pocket, and it's going to attach to that one. This one's probably stuck enough for me to work with it. It doesn't take long for our glitter glue. I just find that the clamps save me pressing down on everything. So I've got a front loading pocket, side loading pocket, let's start that again. Top loading pocket, side loading pocket, top loading pocket, back cover. So now this one and this one need to be attached to each other, and that will then give me my completed set of pockets, top loading and side loading. Let's come along there. Now again, I'm going to rest these down on the work surface before butting them together, just so that I know that the spine hopefully is as flat as I can get it, or as flush as I can get it. So I'm just going to clamp this all together, and then we'll talk about the next stage. Just while this has got a chance to have a bit of a glue, because normally I would do this bit and then probably do a few other things and come back to it, but we're making this in real time, guys. So while that's setting itself off, let's put the lid in this. There you go. And put the extra clamps out the way. Now this is the point at which I want to address that little strip that we made. Now I know that this book, once it's all together, is about 1/4 of an inch. They are about 1/4 of an inch wide. Now you need to measure your own book, because what I'm measuring may not work for you for the dimensions you're working within. So I'm going to bring this in. This is that little strip I cut. Now this should be the same height as my book because it measures that way. Now I'm going to look, and I want to make sure that I've got a 1/4 inch scored line. Now I'm not going to worry that the front and the back mirror up perfectly. Doesn't bother me. So if that's 1/4 and that's 1/4, so I'm going to do, so I'm just thinking how I want to do this, right? So I'm going to come down here. That's one of them. To sorry, thoughtful moment. So 1/4 is actually, how much is 1/4? 1, 2, 3 notches. So 1, 2, 3, I need to come down here. Okay, I get a bit confused when I'm doing the smaller measurements on my scoreboard. So let's put the scoreboard to one side again. And I'm just going to score these, press them down fingers, and then use my bone folder or folding tool. Now, it's up to you. You could choose not to do this step of the process. I'm doing it even though I am going to cover the spine of my little booklet with something later on. Anyway, I'm probably going to use a piece of fabric or something just to give it a nice edge to it. I could even give it a bit of lace. So let's just take these off. So our completed little journal before decorating: front cover, top pocket, side pocket, top pocket, side pocket. I've got glue on that. Top pocket, side pocket, top pocket, cover. As you can see, I put too much glue on there. Now this should fit perfectly down the spine. I think I could have scored that. I need to score that with a different line. So I could have scored the one in from that. See, told you I got confused, didn't I? I had a feeling I wasn't sure about that. So right, lay that there. It needs to be this line here. You could, of course, do the same thing with a bit of washi tape. All I want to do is this piece that I'm gluing on here, the aim of it is to cover up all of these ridges. Purely because if I do put a thin fabric on there, I want to make sure that I don't see those ridges, and I want to just make sure that when I put something over the top of it, it is completely and utterly sealed in and nicely finished. So if I slip this down here now, that's a far better finish. That's that little bit there. I don't think my trimmer didn't quite catch that. There you go. So my method of doing this is I'm going to come in with art glitter glue, and I'm going to put art glitter glue down the central channel. I think it's being a bit of a challenge today. This is my second video today, and I've got one more to do. So hopefully I won't lose the plot entirely. So I'm going to push my book down onto that. Make sure it's all nicely positioned. And I'm going to press down onto the work surface purely to make sure it's fully in contact. And I'm going to pull that flap down, and I'm then going to run glue along this flap just to seal my whole spine in. And press that up. I'm going to turn it round and do exactly the same on the other side. As I said, this is just a safeguard, to be honest with you, because I'm going to put a small fabric strip along here when the whole thing is finished anyway. So come in, give that another burnish with my finger. So that gives me my nice little booklet all ready to go, a nice little journal all ready to go. Now I'm going to sit this to one side for a few seconds while we look at what the next stage is likely to be. Okay, so just put that to one side and put the pin in the glue, Griffiths, because you are notorious for that. There you go. Now we know that these panels are 4 by 5.5. As proof of pudding, that's 4 by 5.5. I am probably going to cut panels, and I'm going to cut them smaller, ever so slightly smaller. So probably worth grabbing a bit of paper here. So just as a reminder me, so if that's 4, I'm going to cut it at 3 3/4. So 3 3/4. And if this is 5.5, I'm going to make it 5 1/4. Just so I've got some reminder of what I need to cut to. So let's take in, now you could use papers, you could use whatever you chose at this instant. I'm going to pull in some of my 12 by 12 pads, because I know in the Stamperia ones, sometimes they have journal cards that might work, like these might work. What's on the back of that? No, I'd probably use that for something else. No, I won't cut that one out. Right, here's a prime example, postcards. See, I would probably use these if it was in that orientation, but if I get stuck, I could use that one because there's no writing in it. Right, let's keep going. You don't have to use 12 by 12s for this, guys. You can use whatever you wish. I just thought this would be a really quick thing to look at, just in case there's something in here that would work. Right, here you go. There's a prime example. And they're double-sided. Right, what are these? Just under 3 3/4. And 5.5. Right, this page is coming out. I can cut these out and I can use these. I'm not going to do the whole journal, guys. I'm just going to show you how I would decorate up bits of it. There's no more in there. Oh, and that was from the House of Roses set by Stamperia. I wonder whether there's any in here. They tend to have a format to a lot of these 12 by 12 pads, and you'll find that some of them will have have journal cards and some don't, but there's usually the dimensions are the same across different pads. Doesn't look like there's any more in there actually. I think this is Hortensia. It always makes me smile when I say that. Hortensia. So, me and my moments. Right, yeah, let's not go down that route. We're not going to do those. Right, let's pull these out of here. I wonder. Let's see if I can find something in another pad that might be just something a little more plain. Right, this is something called Vintage Diary. This is by Crafter's Companion, Sarah Davis here in the UK. So I think there's probably going to be one or two in here that I would use, but I know there's going to be no set cards, but I could use like that blank spaces I could be using. And I don't mind things looking blank. I'm looking mainly for smaller designs, because smaller the design, the smaller the journal, the smaller the designs need to be. Like, there's some interesting bits on there I could probably use. Let's take that one out, and it's got pink on the back. So actually, let's take two of those out. Right, because I don't want to take all my time up in this video just talking about selections and cuttings and all of that lot. I want to get on with it. I want to see that it works for us all. So, right, let's put that to one side. Let's come in with the old guillotine again. So, right, luckily enough, everything's lined up. We're loving that. So if I come in and just chop this down at the sides, then I can work on the height later. Because we said it was under 3 3/4 anyway. I do love it when designers, digital designers as well, line things up for ease of cutting. It sometimes makes me choose a digital or a pad over another design, because I know that I can quite quickly come in and just chop them with a guillotine. Or another thing I really like too is if the designer has actually made circles that are the right dimension for a hole punch, as in a 1 inch or a 2 inch or a 1.5 or a 3 inch hole punch. Do you get what I mean? So that I don't have to fussy cut them. I can just come in with a craft punch and bada boom, bada bang, as the word goes. They're done. That's those two taken out. Oh, we're going to have to sort a cover out of this slot as well, aren't we? It's probably not the most interesting thing to be watching, guys, but as I said, it's the end-to-end process, so I don't mind that. And I'm hoping to keep this video, I would say under an hour would be, I don't see why it wouldn't be achievable. I think what I might do is I might take a break part the way through to see if I can grab out some other ephemera pieces of my own that would fit in the pockets, and then we can just utilize those. So that's that. Okay, now this one, what do I need? 3 3/4. Let's see what this does for us. Just literally just cutting it into 3 3/4. I would normally put a little more thought into what I'm doing, but because it's a video, I want to make sure that I don't consume too much of your time, because as you're watching this, you're probably an artist anyway, and it's up to you what the decisions you are that makes. So what I'm looking for, 5 3/4. Did I say that? No, I said 5 1/4, didn't I? Okay. Now the thing is, that's an interesting panel, but then that's also an interesting panel for writing on. And so whether it's that way on the page or it's that way on the page, it still gives interest. So, and I'm making some nice scraps as we go along. So 5 1/4, 5 1/4. And all these little offcuts are great for the basis for clusters and things like this. So always make sure you save those sort of things. They're very, very handy in the long run. Now, while I'm doing this, I want to talk about if you're doing journal cards for these, remember it's only a really small journal. So don't make them out of too heavy or too thicker of paper, because you want to make sure that you're not bulking this up far too much. I know I could probably cut these multiply, but sorry, I mean stack and then cut them, but I'm okay with this way. Let's save that edge on this one because I like that edge. It's a nice cool edge. Right, let's see if I can cut all three of these at the same time at 5 1/4 and not mess this up. So I'm trying to save time. That's a nice meaty trumping sound, wasn't it? Yes. Okay, right, get that out of the way. Let's clear this offcuts to one side. I will sort those out after the video is finished filming. Let's move that out of the way. So basically we've now got a nice selection of things we can stick to the fronts of our pages. We would if I could pick them up. So at this point I think I'm just going to flick through them and go, what do I like, what do I don't like. That's quite interesting. That's quite interesting. That looks a bit dark to me, so I might use that side of it. I don't mind that. That's quite cute. Kind of cute. I think I've already got one of those saved. Or was that the one I turned over? It's the one I turned over. Well, let's turn that one over as well. I don't really like to repeat them because it's such a small book. So ones I know I've got facing one way, I'll turn around to face the other way. Might make an exception with that one because it's not identical because I cut it slightly different. Do I use this one? Right, and these I don't know which side I want. I need to be thinking of a cover as well while I'm doing this. I do like the roses. Is this the only one with a bird on it? Oh, actually that's nice. Take time to smell the roses. I like that as well. See, too many decisions. That might become the cover actually. I like the fact that these have got open spaces for journal notes. So let's just tidy these up and do a bit of a count because I don't actually know how many faces I've got to cover. So I'm going to put that one to one side. So basically, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. How many of these have I got? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and a back cover. Well, go figure that one. I would never have guessed I got that one right. So let's see if I've got a back cover then. That's quite a back cover, right. So let's come in now. For this, I'm literally going to be using a glue stick because this is paper to paper, or if you call it card to card, you can call it card to card. It's quite thin. I'm not worrying about this. So I'm just going to come in and do my best. Now I'm using Pritt Stick. I always use Pritt Stick basically because it's the one that's easily available for me. Let's just take that out of there. Now I'm going to put this right to this edge purely because if I decide to put fabric, so am I working too low? I feel like I'm working too far down. If I put fabric or lace down there, I want to make sure that it's seen. So that's the front. Let's come in with the back. Let's see, where is that? There you go. I've also had loads of questions saying, what do I do with all my glue pages? There is a playlist on what to do with spare book pages, I think it's called. A lot of the time I'll use them as bases for other journal cards. I'll do lots of that stuff. I will make them into tags. I will even sometimes make them into paper mache and use them for things like building scenery on fairy houses and stuff like that. They are quite useful, guys. I do use them up. And if I do get a glut of them, and I mean I have so many of them I can't work with them, what I tend to do is I do make sure they go into recycling. So that gives me my front cover and my back cover. Now, I'm not sure how many of each I've got. So I'm trying to work out which of these sort I've got. I think I want to dot these ones through the journal first, purely because that way I can ensure that I've got them quite nicely distributed. So let's just pop these in. So as I said, this is a cute little one that if you're traveling or you're going on a vacation or literally you just want a little journal to keep in your handbag or something, then this is a perfect size. So I'm going to come in, pop that down, give it a bit of a smush. Now I know that there's glue on the other side of this, so I'm going to come in immediately, open this up, if I can open it up. Why can't I open this up? There you go, it's me being an idiot. Right, I'm going to come in with my craft punch, and because I can see where the previous notch was, I can just come in again, match that notch up, pop it out, and then I've got a nice clean snip there. I know it's centralized and none of the glue is spread anywhere else. So let's see if I can mix these up ever so slightly. So this would be a perfect thing to, if you want to just make notes on techniques that you're doing. Or maybe it's a really small ideas journal. It could also be a very small ephemera folder. So if you're going away on holiday or you're traveling and you want to take a little bit of ephemera with you to work with, this is the perfect size because you can do top and bottom loading. So nice little thing like that. Get that glue off there. Obviously take a bit more time than I'm doing, guys. I'm slamming my way through this one purely because I don't want to take up more than an hour. But what I might do in a second or two is I might pause the video and then I'm going to stick all of these pages in, and then I'm going to come back because you don't need to be seeing me doing this all the way through the book, because goodness knows that's going to be boring. And I'm going to come in and just re-establish that little notch there. There you go. Okay, so I put some of them in. As I said, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to put all of the page covers in here, and I'll have a quick look through my ephemera and see if I've got things that can tuck in, and then we'll see what actually fits into it. So I'll be back in 2 seconds, guys. So here I am back again. Didn't take that long. I put the pages in. It gives you quite a robust, solid little book at this point. So we'll just do a quick flick through so you can see what we've actually achieved. I tried to do a plain opposite a picture each time. I think there's one exception, which is two sort of pale pictures, but there you go. So that's our cover. So you've got writing space, writing space, writing space. This is the one where it's sort of two, not plain, but you can write on that. Writing space, and there's even more writing space there, more writing space there, more writing space there. That's our back cover, which leads us up to the spine, which I want to address in a minute, and then we'll look at getting some ephemera in there. Right, I quickly went through my drawer of stuff to use for the spine. And what I found is I found this lace, which is absolutely perfect in colour for this. So I want to make sure that I've got a piece, first of all, that's cut straight would be a good idea, Griffiths. So that's that. Right, if I take it to about there, it should be fine. Let's cut that off. So you got, where did I get the lace? I couldn't tell you. I do lots of things, like if I see lace in a shop, I'll buy it. If I actually see it in an estate sale or a Goodwill or something, I'll buy it. I sometimes, if I'm running low on lace, which is probably not going to be very often, I will actually go onto eBay and have a look around and see if there's any one auctioning off lace. So I buy lace from lots of different places. So now I'm going to use Fabri-Tac for this because to me it's the perfect choice. So is there a right way or a wrong way? I would say there isn't a right way and a wrong way. So I'm just going to put Fabri-Tac right down the spine of this. Now, because I don't want it oozing all over the place, I'm just going to smear it out with my little finger, just so there's a thinner coating of it on there. And then I'm going to try and do this without hitting my head on my own camera. Lay that central piece right down the spine there. Now with this, I know it comes to just past the edge, so I'm going to come in. Am I in shot? I hope I'm in shot. I'm just going to come in and come up to that edge. And you can see now why you didn't really have to do the stage there with the card. Again, I'm going to smear it out with my finger. I find I get better effects that way. And I'm going to lay that over there. I don't mind if it ruffles slightly the edge. That actually is quite nice if it lifts up ever so slightly. This one about there, right. So yeah, there, you can now see why you could avoid the step of doing the piece of card around the spine. I just find it helps me. I wonder whether Darlene did it. I can't remember. Maybe Darlene did it as well. I can't remember whether Darlene did it in her original video or not. I have a feeling she may have done, to be honest with you. So that just finishes that off. Now we're going to look at some ephemera to put in the pockets. I'm not sure whether my ephemera is going to fit because I haven't made any ephemera specifically for this. You could easily do something as simple as folding bits of coffee dyed paper and popping it in there. Anything like that will do. Let's just slide that down a bit, it's sticking up a bit proud. As far as a closure goes, I'll hunt for a closure after I've actually put the ephemera in here for you. So, right, over on my table here, I've got my box of tags, which are done and complete. And I've got my box of journaling cards, which is a little depleted at the moment, actually. So I'm not going to be able to show you what I'm diving through, but I'll try and pull in a few things to see what actually fits. So I've got tags that I don't mind. Tags that are just basically not even finished because the person who owns this might want to decorate them themselves. Just trying to find roughly what the right size is for this journal. Actually, those would be fun. That would be quite fun actually, because it's sort of the same sort of, and actually it's probably the same card pack. Yeah, that's a little one tucked in there for writing. I think this one's a bit big. Yeah, that can't go in there. Whether that could go in there. It's a bit stumpy, I'd lose it. Right, let's have a look and see what the other ones are like. Right, have a look through some of these. It's a bit large. I'm feeling most of my tags are a little bit large for this. I tend to do larger type tags. Slip you in there. And I'm just putting one thing in, guys. You could put as many things as you want in a pocket. You just have to respect how big and bulky you're making this little writing space here. I think that will go in nicely in there. I think these are all too big. That one's quite cute. That one's a bit big as well. I could probably get away with that one. Let's see if I've got one. Let's put you in there. You've got some pink on you. I haven't got a thingy on that one. Let's take that one out of there and move that one forward. And then this one can go in the middle because it won't need any taffeta or sari silk on it because the others have already got it. So that's those. Let's see if I've got any journal cards or anything that might just slot it. Let's move that out of my way so I can actually have a bit of movement here. So as I said, sorry, I haven't really thought of this ahead of time. So are these going to fit? These might fit actually. Right, let's see. Are they going to fit in sideways? Ooh, they might just. Am I on shot? I am on shot. Come on, you want to go in there. I know you want to go in there. There you go. That's a nice little fit. I don't mind it sticking out. It actually tells someone there's something in it. So let's see if I can get another one of those in here. I love that one. But it doesn't go in here. But this has got pink in it, and this journal's got quite a bit of pink in it. Let's stick you in here, young man. I think I might have made some of these journal cards in videos, to be honest. I'm not sure. Let's do one more of these, shall we? Actually, let's do one that hasn't got much on it, because you never know, the recipient of this journal may actually choose to put their own journal cards in here anyway. So let's put you there, because that's pink and pink. Come on, lift yourself up. There you go. And that slots in nicely in there. Now, obviously, I'm leaving these pages as is. You could further decorate those pages. It wouldn't be a problem. I wonder what I want to put. Is this too modern, do you think? If I put something like that in there. Actually, I don't mind that. I might like that better than that tag, actually. Take that tag out of there and put that in there. That's nice. That sits in there nicely. I wonder whether I've got another one that's that pale. That might work. These are just journal cards I've actually made from my jelly printing. I quite like that one, actually. Let's see if I can find a home for that one. Let's put those back in the box. So, let's see. So you've got something, 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 you've got something. Oh, then in that case, I want to take you out of there and put you in there, because I think that's far prettier. So there you go. That's just an example. I mean, obviously take a bit more time than I am, guys. So that gives me just some stuff in there. And see, there's a heck of a lot of writing space in here when you reckon you can write in here and on the tag. You can write on there. You can write on the back of the journal card. You can write there. You can write on the tag. On the journal card I've just put in there, which I now can't get out. Please come out. See, this is where you have the advantage, girls. You have nails. I don't have nails. There you go. I might have to put a tab on the top of that. Writing on the back of that journal card. Writing on the back of that journal card. Writing on the back of that journal card. Writing on the back of that tag. Writing. There's a heck of a lot of writing space in that. Right, I'm going to put you on pause for 1 second while I nip over and see if I can find anything to tie this up with. And then we're done. It's not a huge make, and I think it's really simple, really pretty, really easy, and it's actually quite a substantial little journal when it's done. So bear with me, back in a second or two. So here I am back again, as promised. I think I want to put this colour on. I mean, I was debating which of these three colours, and I like the freshness of this sari silk. So I think if I just take some of this, just a couple of lengths of it. See that background, put the pin back in before it all becomes totally unravelled on me. There you go. And then I think I'm just going to... whether I've got enough to wrap it round twice. Yes, easily. So wrap that round twice. Give it a bow. I could, of course, put charms on things. I could have decorated it up more. But I think that's a cute little journal. Let's work that round to the side. There you go. I think that's a cute little journal. I think that's a useful amount of space in there. This looks a bit... I need to separate that out. There you go, got a bit crushed. So, hope you enjoyed that, guys. It's a little project which I thought was a really cute one. As I said, it was inspired by another YouTuber called Darlene McConnachie. Please, if I said that wrong, I apologise. I will put her link in the description box. Go over and watch her original video. She did slightly different than I've used. She had flips and flaps within hers, which I didn't. So, hope you enjoyed that. I'm very happy with that. That's going to go into my armoury of things that I make on a regular basis, because that would make a really cute gift as well. So, that just leaves me to say goodbye, actually. So I'm Ceri the Crafter, Ceri, saying goodbye till next time. Bye-bye now.